Have you ever looked into a man's eyes and felt something shift? Something quiet yet powerful? As if his heart was speaking a language words could never express? Love doesn't always appear in dramatic declarations or grand gestures. Sometimes it hides in silence, in the softness of a glance, in the way he listens when you speak, or how he stands a little closer without even realizing it. For most men, love begins not with words but with feeling. Deep, hidden emotions they can't always explain, but can't completely hide either. When a man truly loves, it transforms him in ways even he may not understand. He becomes more protective, more thoughtful, and sometimes more vulnerable. Beneath the calm, strong surface, there's a storm of emotions. Fear, admiration, longing, and peace, all colliding quietly inside him. Psychologists call this emotional awakening, a phase where love activates parts of the brain linked to empathy, care, and connection. It's the moment he stops seeing you as just someone he likes and starts feeling like his heart has found its reflection. The fascinating thing about men is that while they may appear logical or composed, love makes them feel deeply. They just express it differently. Some show it through protection, a subtle hand on your back when crossing the street. Some reveal it in silence and sitting beside you, saying nothing yet feeling everything. Others show it through small sacrifices, staying up to check if you got home safe, remembering the smallest details about your day. These gestures may seem simple, but they come from a place of genuine emotion, a love that's quiet but real. This video isn't about clichés or movie-style romance. It's about the real psychology of love, the invisible emotions men experience when their hearts are truly captured. You'll discover how love changes their thoughts, their actions, and even the way they see themselves, from the way they protect you without knowing why, to the nervousness they can't quite hide. Every emotion tells a story. The story of a man learning how to love beyond words. So as we explore these 12 hidden emotions men feel when they're truly in love, pay attention not just to what he says but to what his heart shows. Because real love doesn't always announce itself. It reveals itself slowly through patience, care, and connection. And once you learn to see it, you'll realize that even in silence, a man's love can be louder than any words he'll ever speak. His heart feels restless. When you're not around, when a man is truly in love, he often feels a quiet but powerful restlessness when the woman he loves isn't near. It's not about possession or obsession. It's an emotional imbalance that comes from missing the presence that brings him peace. Psychologists call this sensation emotional attachment anxiety, the subtle ache that happens when someone's energy becomes intertwined with your own. For most men, love isn't loud. It doesn't always show through constant messages or dramatic gestures. Instead, it reveals itself in small, unspoken moments, like when his mind drifts back to you during the day, or when he catches himself wondering how you're doing without even realizing it. That's emotional restlessness, a sign that you've become part of his mental rhythm. When he's with you, he feels centered. The sound of your voice, your laughter, even your silence brings a sense of calm. But when you're away, that calm turns into a quiet unease. He might distract himself with work or friends, yet there's an invisible pull, a longing that reminds him something important is missing. Love has a way of making ordinary moments feel incomplete without the person who completes them. Psychologically, this happens because the brain associates love with safety. When we connect deeply with someone, our brain releases oxytocin and dopamine, chemicals that create feelings of warmth, security, and happiness. When that emotional source is absent, the mind naturally craves it again, just like the heart craves a rhythm it's used to beating with. He may not say, "I miss you," out loud. He may act normal, keep his composure, and appear focused. But inside, his thoughts circle back to you, replaying shared laughter, remembering your scent, your words, your presence. It's a tender kind of ache, the kind that doesn't hurt but lingers. This restlessness isn't weakness, it's connection. It's his heart recognizing that love has changed his inner world. You've become his comfort, his peace, and without you, everything feels slightly off balance. That's the quiet truth of real love. It's not always spoken, but it's always felt. He feels a deep need to protect you without knowing why. When a man is truly in love, one of the deepest emotions he experiences is the instinctive urge to protect the woman he loves. It's not something he plans or even fully understands. It's a subconscious response that comes straight from the heart. This protective feeling isn't about control or dominance. It's about care, safety, and emotional investment. When he feels connected to you, your happiness and well-being become part of his own sense of peace. Psychologists explain this as part of the attachment instinct. When we form a deep emotional bond, the brain links the other person's safety with our own emotional stability. For men, this often translates into an almost primal sense of responsibility. He might feel the need to make sure you get home safely, that you're comfortable, that no one hurts you emotionally or physically. Even small gestures, like walking on the side of traffic, checking in when it's late, or defending you when someone disrespects you, are quiet reflections of that instinct. But beyond the physical, his protection extends to the emotional level. When a man truly loves you, he becomes careful with his words, especially in moments of conflict. He doesn't want to say something that might wound you. He wants to protect your heart, your confidence, your peace. You'll notice he listens differently, not just to respond, but to understand. He might not always have the right words, but his actions will speak through empathy, patience, and consistency. This protective instinct also shows up in subtle ways. He might worry when you're stressed, feel uneasy when you're upset, or become alert when you're sad. It's because your emotional state affects him deeply. When you're hurting, he feels it too. Love, in its purest form, creates emotional resonance, a shared energy where one person's peace becomes the other's priority. And the most beautiful part? He doesn't do it to impress you or earn love in return. He does it because his heart recognizes something precious. And what's precious, he wants to protect. That quiet, selfless instinct reveals the depth of his feelings more clearly than any grand confession could. He gets nervous, even when he tries to act calm. When a man is truly in love, his body often reveals what his words are trying to hide. No matter how confident or composed he appears, love has a way of making even the strongest man nervous. It's not fear of you, it's fear of what you mean to him. When someone matters deeply, their opinion suddenly carries weight, and the smallest moments feel charged with meaning. That quiet nervousness is his heart betraying his calm exterior. Psychologists call this physiological arousal, when emotions activate the body's stress and excitement responses simultaneously. His heartbeat quickens, palms may sweat, his voice softens or trembles slightly, and he might even laugh at the wrong moment. These are not signs of weakness. They're signs of emotional significance. The body reacts this way when it senses something important, something it doesn't want to lose. You might notice him adjusting his clothes when you walk in, running a hand through his hair, or looking away just a moment too late. He's not rehearsing. He's trying to regulate his feelings. His mind says, stay calm, but his heart is racing because being near you feels both thrilling and vulnerable. Love exposes the parts of us we usually keep hidden. This nervous energy often appears strongest in the beginning, when he's still unsure how you feel about him. But even later, when love deepens, those nerves don't completely fade. They simply transform from anxious excitement to gentle admiration. He still gets butterflies when you look at him a certain way, or when your laughter fills the room. That's how you know his feelings are real. Comfort grows, but the spark never disappears. Beneath the surface, what he's truly afraid of is not rejection, it's being seen. Because when a man loves deeply, he opens up parts of himself that few people ever touch. That vulnerability makes him human and in love, beautifully imperfect. So when you notice his nervous smile, his restless hands, or his voice faltering ever so slightly, don't overlook it. Those are the tiny cracks where his real emotions show through. Proof that his heart is involved even when his words stay quiet. He feels peace. Just by being near you, when a man is truly in love, one of the most profound emotions he experiences isn't excitement, it's peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from silence or solitude, but the kind that comes from presence, your presence. When he's near you, his world slows down. The noise in his mind quiets, and the pressure he usually carries on his shoulders feels lighter. That's not coincidence. That's connection. Psychologists describe this as emotional regulation through attachment. When two people form a secure bond, their nervous systems begin to mirror one another. Simply being around the person they love can stabilize heart rate, lower stress hormones, and release oxytocin, the chemical of calm and trust. For him, that means you're not just someone he enjoys spending time with. You've become a source of inner balance. You'll notice it in his behavior. He may not say much, but when he's with you, his body language softens, his tone becomes calmer, his eyes gentler, his movements slower. It's as if his entire being exhales. That's because love at its purest doesn't just make the heart race, it helps it rest. You've become his safe space in a world that constantly demands strength. For many men, life is filled with silent battles, responsibilities, fears, expectations, things they rarely speak about. But when he's with you, he doesn't need to perform. He doesn't need to hide behind confidence or control. He can just be. That freedom to be himself without judgment is peace in its truest form. It's the kind of calm that says, I'm home. And here's the beauty of it, this peace doesn't come from perfection. It comes from emotional acceptance. He feels understood by you, not for what he does, but for who he is. That's why your presence has power. Even in silence, even in ordinary moments, you bring him comfort that words can't describe. In love, excitement may fade, but peace endures. When a man finds peace in your presence, it means you've reached the deepest part of his heart. The place that doesn't just want you, but needs you to feel whole. That's how you know it's real. He feels pride. When you succeed, when a man truly loves you, your success feels like his own victory. It doesn't threaten him. It fulfills him. In fact, one of the deepest signs of genuine love is when he feels an emotional lift seeing you achieve something you've worked for, whether it's personal, professional, or emotional growth. He doesn't compete. He celebrates. That's not just affection. That's emotional partnership. Psychologists call this empathic pride, a powerful form of emotional resonance that appears in healthy, loving relationships. When someone we love achieves something meaningful, our brain releases the same reward chemicals, dopamine and oxytocin, that we feel for our own successes. For a man in love, that means your wins don't just make him happy for you, they make him proud of you. He feels connected to your growth, invested in your dreams, and honored to witness them come true. You'll notice it in the way his face lights up when you talk about something you've accomplished. He may tease you playfully, but his eyes can't hide the admiration. He might brag about you to others, not to boost his image, but because he genuinely wants the world to know how amazing you are. That's how men express pride in love, through action, attention, and quiet support. A man who feels proud of your success is secure in himself. He doesn't feel smaller when you shine brighter. Instead, your light makes his world warmer. True love replaces comparison with inspiration. He starts to dream bigger too, not to outdo you, but because your strength fuels his. That's what emotional synergy looks like. Two people lifting each other higher. And sometimes his pride shows in silence. He might not say much, but you'll see it in the way he looks at you. That soft, satisfied smile that says, I knew you could do it. Because in his heart, your happiness validates his purpose. When a man is truly in love, your success becomes his peace. Your growth becomes his joy, and your victory becomes a reflection of everything he cherishes about you. He feels jealous but tries to hide it. When a man is truly in love, jealousy doesn't always appear as anger or control. It often hides beneath quiet glances and subtle changes in mood. It's that moment when he grows distant after seeing you laugh with someone else, or when his tone shifts ever so slightly as you mention another man. He might not say it, but inside something stirs in a mix of fear and protectiveness. Psychologists describe this as attachment-driven jealousy, a natural emotional response rooted in care and vulnerability, not dominance. For many men, love awakens a part of them that feels both powerful and fragile. When he loves you, he begins to link his sense of emotional safety to your presence and attention. So when someone else gets the smile, the time, or the warmth that he secretly cherishes, his heart reacts before his mind can reason it out. But because he doesn't want to seem possessive or insecure, he hides it, with a shrug, a joke, or silence. That's how men protect both their pride and their love. You might notice the signs in small ways. He asks casual questions about someone you mentioned. He becomes quieter in conversations that make him uncomfortable. He might even pretend not to care, but his body betrays him. His eyes look away too quickly. His smile fades too soon. He changes the topic before you notice. It's not that he doubts you. He simply fears losing the emotional closeness that means everything to him. Psychologically, jealousy in healthy love isn't toxic. It's revealing. It shows emotional depth, investment, and vulnerability. When a man tries to hide his jealousy, it often means he respects you too much to let his insecurity burden you. Instead, he manages it silently. working through his feelings in private, hoping his actions will show trust even when his heart trembles. True love doesn't erase jealousy. It transforms it. It teaches him to replace fear with faith, to protect the bond instead of control it. So if you ever sense that quiet unease in his eyes, don't mistake it for weakness or mistrust. It's his heart showing how much you matter, even when he's doing everything he can to hide it. He feels inspired to be a better man for you. When a man truly loves a woman, something shifts inside him. He doesn't just want to be near her. He wants to rise to meet the version of himself she sees. Real love becomes his mirror, reflecting both his strengths and his potential, and suddenly he starts wanting to grow. Not because you ask him to, but because you make him want to. Psychologists describe this as motivational transformation in attachment. When someone feels emotionally safe and valued, their brain begins associating personal growth with love and connection. For men, this often shows up as a desire to become more responsible, more focused, and more emotionally aware. He starts paying attention to how he speaks, how he handles stress, and how he treats others because somewhere in his mind he's thinking, "She deserves the best version of me." This inspiration doesn't always appear as big, dramatic changes. It often lives in small details, like him working harder toward his goals, being more patient, or managing his temper in moments that used to trigger him. You'll see it when he takes initiative, when he starts planning for the future, or when he learns to express emotions he once avoided. That's love doing its quiet work, turning affection into evolution. The beauty of this transformation is that it's rooted in respect, not pressure. You don't have to tell him to change. Your presence alone challenges him to be more. He sees how you carry yourself, how you handle life with grace, and he wants to match that energy. Love becomes his motivation, not his obligation. Psychologically, this is one of the purest indicators of genuine love, when admiration turns into aspiration. He doesn't see you as competition or perfection. He sees you as inspiration. He starts to believe that by becoming better, he can love you better. That's what separates infatuation from true connection. One wants to possess, the other wants to evolve. So when you notice him striving quietly, making small changes, or talking about his dreams with more conviction, understand this. You've touched his soul in a way that pushes him toward his highest self. Because when a man is deeply in love, his greatest desire isn't just to have you, it's to be worthy of you. He feels emotional pain when you're hurt. When a man truly loves you, your pain doesn't just move him, it hurts him. It's as if your emotions are wired directly to his own heart. He might not always show it openly, but when you're sad, angry, or broken, something deep inside him feels it too. This isn't sympathy. It's empathic resonance, a psychological state where two people are so emotionally connected that one person's suffering activates the other's emotional response centers in the brain. Psychologists explain that love creates an emotional bond network, where mirror neurons in the brain synchronize with the emotions of the person you're attached to. When you're hurting, his brain interprets that as distress within his own system. That's why he might look uneasy when you're crying, or fall silent when you're upset. He's not indifferent, he's processing your pain as his own. You'll see this in subtle ways. Maybe he checks in more often when something's bothering you, even if you haven't said a word. Maybe he listens longer than usual, trying to understand without interrupting. Maybe he gets frustrated, not at you, but at the fact that he can't fix what's hurting you. That helplessness is painful for him because men are wired to protect and provide safety. When someone they love is in pain, it disrupts that instinct and it hurts their sense of control. True love isn't just about sharing laughter and joy. It's about sharing emotional weight. So when you cry and he suddenly grows quiet, that silence isn't coldness in its depth. He's feeling the ache right alongside you. And when he wipes your tears, hugs you tighter, or just sits there holding your hand, it's his way of saying, "I wish I could take this from you." Real love transforms empathy into action. He may not always find the perfect words, but his gestures, staying up with you through your sadness, being patient with your moods, or standing by you in hard times, all come from that place of shared feeling. When a man feels your pain as his own, it means his love has gone beyond attraction or affection. You've reached the part of his soul that feels what you feel, the kind of connection that doesn't fade, even in silence. He feels a sense of belonging. When you smile at him, when a man truly loves you, Your smile becomes his anchor, a quiet reassurance that he's safe, seen, and accepted. It's not just that he finds your smile beautiful, it's that, in that brief moment, he feels a deep sense of belonging. Psychologists often describe this as emotional affirmation, the experience of feeling valued and connected through subtle, nonverbal cues. For him, your smile communicates what words never could. You're welcome here. Men, even the strongest ones, carry silent insecurities. They fear rejection, inadequacy, and not being enough. But when the woman they love smiles at them, especially in an unguarded, genuine way, it disarms those fears instantly. It tells him that he matters, that he's doing something right, that his presence has meaning. It's in that instant that love stops feeling like uncertainty and starts feeling like home. You'll notice it in his reaction, the way his posture relaxes, the slight softening in his eyes, or that half smile that appears before he even realizes it. Your smile doesn't just make him happy. It grounds him. It's his signal that he belongs somewhere, not as a role or a provider, but simply as himself. In a world that often tells men to be strong, logical, and contained, your warmth gives him permission to feel. Psychologically, this is linked to the brain's release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. When you smile at him, it activates feelings of trust, safety, and emotional connection. Over time, these moments build an invisible thread between you, one woven from acceptance and mutual understanding. That's why your smile can calm him even during tension, or pull him back when he's distant. It's not charm. It's emotional connection in motion. To him, your smile is more than expression. It's affirmation. It says you're seen, you belong, you're loved. And that sense of belonging changes everything. It gives him the courage to open up, the peace to stay, and the confidence to love without fear. When a man feels at home in your smile, it means he's no longer just attracted to you. He's emotionally rooted in you. Because true love isn't about possession. It's about presence. And sometimes all it takes is one genuine smile to remind him he's exactly where he's meant to be. 10. He feels fear of losing you. More than anything else, when a man truly loves you, his greatest fear isn't being rejected. It's losing the connection that makes his world feel whole. This fear isn't born from insecurity or control. It's the quiet terror of losing someone who feels like home. Love, when it's real, awakens the deepest parts of a man's heart, and with that depth comes vulnerability. Psychologists call this loss aversion in attachment. When someone becomes emotionally significant, the brain reacts to the thought of losing them the same way it reacts to physical pain. For men, this fear often stays hidden behind calm faces and steady voices, but internally it's intense. He starts imagining life without you, and it feels wrong, empty, and colorless. You might notice it in his behavior. He pays more attention when something feels off between you. He becomes protective of the bond, not possessive but cautious. When you pull away emotionally, he feels it instantly. He may not say much, but his tone changes. His response is slow and his mind races with worry. It's because he values you deeply, and the thought of losing your trust, your laughter, or your presence stirs something primal within him. This kind of fear is not weakness. It's love wrapped in fragility. Men are often taught to hide fear, to appear strong no matter what, but in love that mask cracks. His silence, his hesitation, his sudden need to reassure you, all come from the same place. He doesn't want to lose what feels irreplaceable. In psychology, this fear often leads to relationship maintenance behaviors. He starts putting in more effort, showing affection more openly, or trying to fix misunderstandings faster than before. He's not doing it to control the outcome. He's doing it because he's emotionally invested. Losing you would mean losing a part of himself, and here's the truth. This fear isn't tragic. It's sacred. It shows he understands your worth. It means he doesn't take you for granted, because when a man is truly in love, the thought of losing you doesn't just scare him, and it humbles him. It reminds him that love is precious, fragile, and worth protecting every single day. He feels gratitude just for knowing you. When a man truly loves you, gratitude becomes one of the quietest but most powerful emotions he feels. It's not about what you do for him. It's about who you are and how your presence has changed the rhythm of his life. Every shared laugh, every deep conversation, every comforting silence becomes something he treasures. Even on the ordinary days, he feels thankful simply because you exist in his World psychologists call this feeling relational gratitude, an emotional response that arises when someone recognizes the value another person brings to their emotional well-being. When a man experiences this, his perspective shifts from wanting love to appreciating it. Instead of asking, "What do I get from her?" he quietly thinks, "How did I get so lucky to have her?" You'll notice this gratitude in the small moments. He might look at you while you're talking and smile without a reason. He might thank you for something simple: your patience, your kindness, your understanding. Sometimes it shows in the way he remembers the smallest details about you, like your favorite food or the way you take your coffee. Those gestures aren't casual. They're reflections of appreciation. This emotion also changes the way he behaves in the relationship. Gratitude softens pride, replaces irritation with understanding, and strengthens emotional connection. He becomes more forgiving during arguments, more patient in difficult moments, and more consistent in showing care. Psychologically, gratitude boosts oxytocin, the same hormone responsible for trust and bonding. It literally deepens the emotional glue between two people. What makes this kind of gratitude beautiful is that it doesn't fade when life gets hard. Even during misunderstandings or distance, he still holds a quiet respect for what you bring to his life. You've become part of his growth, his memories, and his story, and that awareness fills him with peace. When a man feels grateful just for knowing you, it means love has evolved beyond attraction or excitement. It has reached maturity, a space where he doesn't take your presence for granted. Because true love isn't only about wanting someone, it's about recognizing their value every single day and whispering in the heart, "Thank you for being you." He feels love growing stronger in silence. When a man is truly in love, his feelings don't fade in quiet moments, they deepen. In a world where so much is said, posted, and performed, real love often grows in silence. It's in the stillness between words, the calm after laughter, and the comfort of simply existing together without needing to fill the space. For him, that silence isn't emptiness, and it's connection. Psychologists call this emotional attunement, a state where two people's inner worlds align so deeply that words become secondary. When he loves you, he doesn't need constant conversation to feel close. Your energy, your presence, and your subtle expressions are enough. In that quiet space, he feels safe, grounded, and understood. Love transforms from excitement into serenity, from noise into knowing. You'll see it in the way he sits beside you without distraction, how he listens to your breathing, glances at you softly, or holds your hand without speaking. Those moments might seem ordinary, but they're where his heart feels most alive. He realizes that real connection doesn't demand effort. It flows naturally, like two souls resting in the same rhythm. Silence also reveals truth. When a man's love matures, he no longer feels the need to prove it constantly. Instead, he lets it exist, steady, reliable, and present even when unspoken. That's why, even during distance or quiet spells, the bond doesn't weaken. In fact, he often finds himself missing you more in those silences. Not because of absence, but because love has woven itself into his thoughts and emotions so completely that even stillness reminds him of you. Psychologically, this reflects secure attachment, when someone feels emotionally safe enough to love without constant reassurance. His silence doesn't mean he's lost interest. It means he's at peace in what you share. It's the quiet confidence that your love doesn't need validation. It simply is. So when he grows quiet, don't rush to fill the space. That stillness might be where his love speaks the loudest. Because in true love, words are only part of the story. The rest is written in glances, gestures, and the silent heartbeat that says, "I'm here, I'm yours, and I love you more each day."